Yo, what is up, guys? Crazy Games here. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, and that's right, more Final Fantasy VII Revelations. It's the Revelations weekend, baby. But that's not all we'll be doing this weekend. We're doing a lot this week on the channel, bro. We're doing a lot this week. But let's get some more FF7 and get that out the way first. I'm super pumped for this. So I really have some cool ideas from this trailer. I'm doing an analysis first. I'm gonna give you my theories on things of the analysis, also like story analysis stuff. And we're mostly gonna focus on the big trailer because it has the most stuff in it. But there will be stuff in this smaller trailer I'll talk about too. So yeah, let's get into that. Let's talk about it. I hope you guys enjoy the ride. So this is clearly, as we can see, Junon after they wake up, I assume. And it's interesting that they didn't do that during the day, the late day and evening like the original. Because Junon has the original's lighting, but they decided to do that scene during the day, which I find very interesting from a artistic standpoint. Probably because maybe they thought it was during the day in the original, not really during the original time, the late night time that Junon is set during in the original. Or this could just be a different scene entirely. That's not that one, but we'll take notes because, like I said, the lighting from the original is in the game, and we saw it in Rebirth, obviously, and we see it later in this game too during an important scene. So I do wonder. I'm curious about that. Rufus probably announcing the weapons and the meteor threat here is my assumption. Probably nothing like much bigger than that. Or he could be announcing the war on Wutai. He could be announcing the official war on Wutai here, and not about the end of the world. It depends on what his agenda is going for. Hamaguchi just said in interviews that their war and political stuff is happening in this game with Wutai. They're going to there's been built up for 2 games. They're finally going to go through with it. So we do know what's happening. So that's why I think this could be that specifically. Hojo, I don't know what you're doing here. I assume that's a soldier serum. And you're going to inject somebody with it. There's one thing I can think of. This is the Northern Crater. This is clearly Sephiroth caressing Cloud and bringing him closer to him. So you can give him the Black Materia sword. Buster sword. They are going to steal the Highland here, obviously, is what they're going for. They're gonna do here. Most of the early stuff I didn't really take notes on because there's not really much to really say other than some obvious things. But okay, so here's something I did think about. Okay, so this is, we know we can travel under Midgar. We know we can travel inside and outside of Midgar. So I'm very excited to see that, and it seems like they actually did make the end of the road thing. This time that was not in Rebirth, obviously, as we know. Sector 7, Sector 6. Sector 5, maybe some other ones. And also, like I said in my interview video that I did earlier yesterday, I do think that we're going to find some way into Shinra, the Shinra building. Like, we're gonna go in that area, and then we're gonna be able to go underground to Deep Ground 0, or maybe they'll be in the Shinra building. But I do think we're going to Mako Reactor 0, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I do not think I am, because Hamaguchi specifically hinted towards Neuron Wise, and I think we're gonna see the entirety of the Civets. And I do wonder if they're going to incorporate the Dirge story in full in this, in the Vincent arc, because Vincent doesn't really have an arc in the original, right? He has scenes with Lucrezia, and we have the flashback with Hojo in the original. He doesn't really have an arc in the same way as someone like Barrett or Tifa or Aerith, or even Yuffie. He has the least amount of stuff compared to literally everyone in the OG, and most of the stuff you get from Vincent is in the compilation. So I think they're going to properly incorporate that stuff into this and make it a super awesome version of Dirge Cerberus. And I love Dirge Cerberus. Let's get out the way. This is not an insult to Dirge Cerberus. Say that I love Dirge Cerberus. I really think it's a really good story, and I think the combat is fun in that game. So it's really awesome. Only thing I'm kind of sad about for Vincent, we'll get there. We'll talk about when we get there, involving Dirge Cerberus. But yeah, so Mutal is, as you can see, bigger now, but so is Wutai. Let's look at Wutai, man. Let's look at Wutai real quick. I assume we're gonna be able to go over most of this, minus like the giant clouds. But if Nibelheim had its own region, We're doing definitely the Wutai region, and I'm excited because the Wutai region has been teased since remake, bro. And I've been wanting to come here forever, and I didn't mind waiting for it in part 3 because what they were doing with it, and it's not just the normal Wutai. It like looks like Wutai, but like I said, Hamaguchi was like, we're doing political stuff and we're doing the war in the interview, so it's coming, man. It's coming, man. It's coming. It has to look great. It has to look great. It has to look beautiful. It has to look fantastic, and also it has to look. I was expecting it to look a little beaten up in some way because I thought the war would be the first thing they show. Incorrect, obviously. They're mostly focused on gameplay here, and I really do appreciate that the first thing they show is gameplay, and they want to hold you over to for the story stuff, even though there's a lot of story stuff to shoot from this. So I skipped ahead a bit from the high wind scene because we don't really need to talk about that. We always talk about the high wind, right? But the landing stuff is really cool. I really do like the where we dropping boys. Okay, here we go. Now Mido is under Shinra occupation, which is not normal, if I remember correctly. Because I just played the original in what's it called in January, in December. So I have played it recently. Shinra occupation happens like right towards the end, so it's not like, well, it's not occupied. Shinra comes in, trying to destroy weapon, I'm pretty sure, and I think you fight Reno and Rude there before Ultima shows up. I could be misremembering. I might be misremembering, to be honest. In my heart of hearts, I believe they don't show up at all in Needle. Like in my heart of hearts, I remember they don't show up all in Needle. My memory is great, but it's just like on the fly, some things are hard to remember. So I don't think they show up in Needle, at least not to this extent where they're occupying the entire region. And I assume this is a new dungeon for Meadle because Meadle doesn't have a dungeon. This like type of architecture and stuff does not really exist in Meadle. Meadle has like tree houses and tree like areas, and this is also new. This area up, this like thing here, this Mako crystal tree thing. So I really do think this is an entirely new area. Sorry. That Shinra is trying to occupy in the Meadle region more so than them trying to take over the town of Meadle. Is my guess. So that's what I'm assuming. I'm probably right. And these banners, I think, are, yeah, there's Shinra banners. You can see the Shinra thing. So they're occupying the area. They're saying, this is our territory now. If you want to come in, you got to go through us. And then we got the infantrymen who are not attacking us for some reason, but they probably got bigger fish to fry, and Rufus does not care. Like I said, Wutai is very Wutai from the OG, where it's very touristy, and I'm kind of surprised because of how Yuffie was talking about it, like the interim government that they have, that Viceroy Saru Glenn is doing, or Viceroy Saru is not Glenn. Viceroy Saru is Rufus, but I assume this is a Shinra what's it called? Ceasefire thing, and they're like, you gotta do this to have it so we can have a ceasefire, but they clearly are not. Everyone's preparing for war, from what Yuffie said in Rebirth, where she was talking about it. So it's interesting that it looks like that, even though they're preparing for war. But I guess that makes sense because it's just like that in real life. We get one chocobo this game. There's another scene later with Pico, who is from Rebirth, by the way. The yellow chocobo from Rebirth. Pico is the only chocobo we get in this game, according to Hamaguchi. We don't switch chocobos anymore like in Rebirth, and it's interesting they did that. And I thought they were gonna go the whole way and go breeding, but I guess breeding would just take too long to develop. It would just mechanically just cause too much, and they had other things they wanted to prioritize, which is fair. Just interesting that they went the route of, okay, no more multiple birds, it's all Pico. And I guess they like, okay, we got the colors out the way. People want the color of chocobos. It's out of the way. Now you get the yellow one. I assume we're going to be able to customize Pico, though, more than just in terms of colors, too. I think we'll have a lot more of that. And I think we'll have expanded chocobo racing. Okay. So this is clearly the submarine area. This is the underwater area. And Hamaguchi said it's back, and obviously it is. And from what he said in interviews, after my video came out, he really wants to expand on the Turks. He and Nomura Nojima and Toriyama and et cetera, all want to expand on the Turks. So I think that's interesting that they showed Reno here right away to make you know Reno is important again. Rest in peace to the GOAT, Keiji Fujiwara, and that's the reason he was not in Rebirth much. And they found a new VA. We still don't know who it is. But it's a new VA. It's exciting to see him back because I love Reno, man. I love Reno. One of my friends suggested Hijikata Hirotoshi, I think is his name. He voices Balthier in the Japanese dub, and you can hear him in what's it called, Dissidia Duelum, if you play that and you run into a Balthier. So I do think if he can change his inflection a little, like don't copy Fujiwara exactly, because that's just going to be impossible. You're not going to be Keiji Fujiwara. That was a unique voice that was specific to him, and it's a tragedy we lost that guy. Like super tragic that we lost him. So don't even try to replicate it, but just try to do something that will be unique for Reno specifically and still feel like, hey, that's Reno. That's what I can only ask. Like the English dub, I think, does a really good job of giving Reno a unique voice that's not Quentin Flynn, but still sounding like Reno. And I think that's what they need the Japanese VA to do. As someone who plays in both Japanese and English for the 7 remake games, because I love the Japanese cast so much after Advent Children and Crisis Core, that it's hard to not play both. Because that's the cast I've been with most of my life, because I did not like the English dub for the compilation stuff, minus Rick Gomez as Zach. So I'm really like excited to, well, Rick Gomez and Steve Blum are the ones I like the most, so they were good, but everyone else I didn't particularly like. So I played most of the compilation and stuff in Japanese, so yeah. Anyways, oh, another thing about this has me curious, because as we know, if you played Rebirth, the huge materia are not just materia anymore. They are not sitting ducks, okay? The huge materia are actual weapons now, and they exist in different corners of the planet. One's in what's it called, Gongaga. One's attacking Mutal in this game, and I assume what we're going to do is there's going to be one in Rocket Town. I don't know what he'll do in Rocket Town, but one's in Rocket Town, I assume. That's my assumption based on some interview stuff and what the game's going for. And also, I think one's going to be swimming underwater. Now, we know Emerald Weapon's underwater too, but I don't think we're going to do the typical submarine thing where we hop in the submarine, shoot at Reno's sub, or not Reno's sub, the soldier sub, and get the huge materia after it falls to the floor. And also, they might incorporate Reno and Root into that sequence, because if you play the original, you know there's a Hades materia. Well, maybe you don't know, but there's a Hades materia underwater in a destroyed sub. I think it's the sub that you shoot down in this game, actually, in the original, that you destroy and get the huge materia from. So I do think that they might be incorporated into it and make Hades like a thing you get. Obviously, they could just go for what they've been doing, where you fight them in data and then you get them. But I do think Hades materia will be involved with submarine somehow. Maybe they'll make Hades a boss fight in the submarine before you get to the huge materia. But I do think we're not just going to shoot a submarine. I think we're going to shoot the huge materia weapon underground in the submarine as the minigame thing, and as our gimmick fight for that specific huge materia, if we do the huge materia quest. Because we might not at all. So, we'll see. Okay, so these 3 scenes right next to each other are the escape from Junon. And there's something interesting about this later that I noticed, and I don't know if anyone else noticed when they were watching the trailer, but we'll talk about this. This is clearly Sid and Vincent, who are going to be a dynamic duo in this game, by the way. They're going to be butt buddies this entire game. They're going to be butt buddies this entire game. And I'm so happy because they're butt buddies in Dirge of Cerberus, along with Vincent being butt buddies with Yuffie. So he has his friend who's like 2 years old, and then his friend who's like a teenager while he's like 67 or whatever. And I know Sid's not a teenager and Yuffie is, but that's just like exaggerating. But that's literally how it feels to me. It's like the oldest guy having friends with the second oldest guy, and then the baby of the group, and those are his best friends. It's really good. That's a good dynamic. So I definitely think that's those two. I think that's those two clearly going to untie the high wind and let it so they can set off. Because they're not gonna, since it expanded and they want to have more scenes with characters, they're not gonna keep it vague anymore. Everyone got the high wind to be able to go save her, because it was kind of vague in the original, even though like clearly she's gonna get off the tower and get onto the high wind. So this area is interesting to me. Okay, so as you can see, if I can. Okay, so the party here is Ketchy, Sid, Barrett, Yuffie, Vincent, and Red. No Cloud, no Tifa. So I don't think the live stream sequence is going to happen exactly as people think it's going to. I think it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be one for one the same as the original. Because I think we're going to get an entire dungeon before it. And people are going to say it's padding. I know they're going to say it's padding. But I do think we're getting an entire dungeon before we get to it. Because I think instead of them waiting outside Meadle after it crashes down, Tifa's going to probably fund live stream like usual. And I don't even think the live stream sequence will just be Tifa and Cloud either, for example. I don't think it'll just be Tifa and Cloud, honestly. I don't think it'll just be that. But also, I think this signifies to me that they are going to be blocked by Sephiroth. And Sephiroth's going to be involved in the live stream sequence somehow, some way, so that Tifa cannot fix him. And then these guys are going to try to come down and help and get Sephiroth out the way. Because later in the thing, you'll see a Vincent gameplay trailer where he fights something, and it's pretty obvious that's what this is. And this area, I think, is under Meadle. I think this is the place under Meadle. Because if you remember, if we go back to the part of Meadle with this big... If we go back to Meadle, we see this big crystalline tree thing, right? And then you go here. This looks like it's roots. These look like roots. It could be underwater. It could be the city of the ancients. But to me, this looks like roots. Like, this looks like roots from the tree. So I really do think that's what this is. And I could be wrong, but I really do think this is under that tree. And this is where we're going after we fight the weapon. Tifa's going to fall down underground while we fight the weapon, and then we're going to go chase after her with this crew. So, you know, I'm probably right. I'm probably right. If I'm right, you guys owe me like $50 each viewer. Now here we go. This isn't even like anything like to really analyze, but I want to talk about the lighting in this game. If you played a Rebirth, you know the lighting, like in Remake, there's issue with lighting where if you open the door, the sun is super bright and blinds everything, but the lighting is still nice. In Rebirth, the lighting is kind of off everywhere and makes the characters look a little worse, especially in the sunlight. And everybody's been complaining about that, and I didn't really find it about this one, but I understand where everybody comes from because it looks weirdly off, especially after Remake. But it seems like they finally got the lighting down for Unreal Engine 4 because, my God, everything lighting-wise looks good. The lighting looks perfect. Look at the sunset shade they're going for. Yo, I didn't know this. The Wu-Tai banner is Leviathan. That's amazing. That's amazing. The Wu-Tai armor banner is Leviathan, bro. That's nuts. I did not notice that before. Okay, now this area, I think, is the Northern Crater. It just feels like it. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like to me. So there's crystals everywhere. All these crystals, and it's red as hell. Just feel like this is the Northern Crater. It could not be Northern Crater. It could be them leaving after the live stream sequence, actually. It could just be them trying to leave Meadle after the live stream sequence, and they're fighting Genova here. Because if you look at there's the roots again I was talking about. And obviously this does not have to be the roots of that tree. It could be the Forgotten City, in fact, even, because there's a lot of coral-looking stuff here, too. So I'm gonna guess this is either Northern Crater, Meadle, or the Forgotten City. So one of those three. Obviously, it can't be anything else. Now, something interesting here is that, well, for one, I really like that the icons for every character is based off the original Nomura art from 1997, which is really neat. And also that we get 3 summons in our party now. And obviously it was always like that, but you would have to wait on everyone's ATB to load to be able to do it, right? But everyone's individual ATB is to load. But now you just have a slot for summons, and anyone can pick them, and you can just go to whoever has the most ATB and summon off of that, which I really do like. I really do like that change. Now we're at the Vincent gameplay. Before we get to the Vincent gameplay, this is what I was talking about the thing that Vincent was fighting. That I think this is Sephiroth trying to block them from getting to the live stream sequence because he's in there himself doing something to keep Cloud from becoming whole or whatever. And I think it'll involve Aerith and Zack and not just Tifa. I could be wrong. But I think it'll involve all 3 of them. And I know people want to hear that. People don't want to hear that. People want to keep it one for one the same. But I'm sorry, bro. The end of the first trailer where Cloud's like talking to them through the lilies, like touching the flowers. That told me everything I need to know. That told me everything I need to know. I could be wrong, but it told me everything I need to know. But also, this is Behemoth, which I don't think anyone's pointed out. But I haven't watched anyone else's trailer analysis video, so I don't steal any ideas. And I just want to upload mine and then and then do my own, and then watch theirs after. Shot locks are back from Kingdom Hearts. Shot locks have infested Tetsuya Nomura's mind, and he does think it's the coolest shit ever. And I know for sure he was the one who's like, "Hey man, put that shit in this for Vincent. That shit gonna be fire," and it will be. It will be fire. I do think this is the cave I was talking about. Also, it seems like the item transmogrification is back. I don't know how people feel about that, actually. I think it's whatever. Just another open world thing to add into the game. I have no real feelings toward it, so I don't really mind. But yeah, that's back. And I do like that we're going to be controlling Vincent for this area. I do think it'll be like Rebirth, but I think what I think about the difference between this one and Rebirth will be is we're going to have a lot more linear dungeons and hopefully extra ones. Is my hope that we get a lot of extra dungeons, because FF15 was really good about one thing, and that was extra dungeons. That I think Rebirth kind of could have done better. And the way Hamaguchi talked about every area will be different. They're going to get changed because of the seismic activity from the weapons. Makes me think we're getting extra dungeons. So it'd be really cool if we got that. So I hope we get extra dungeons. And I'm really glad that we're going back down the route where open world you can use whoever you want. But in specific dungeons and story sequences, you play as specific characters. I really like that. That's one of my favorite things about Rebirth. And because it gives characters more stuff and bonding time together. So I'm really excited that this is happening. Okay, so we need to talk about Vincent real quick. I'm scared. I'm really scared. I'm really scared about this. So you see Vincent doing this thing, which clearly to me looks like Limit Break. And the thing I'm worried about is because he transforms with the Galleon Beast. And this could not be Limit Break. It could just be this Eclipse move. It could be a combo ender where you do enough combos, then Eclipse shows up and you press triangle, and then he does this, and it's called Eclipse. But I'm really worried this is Limit Break, and he will not get the other monster forms as Limit Breaks or transformations. That is my one worry, but I really hope it's not the case, because that's like, despite my issue with that in the original game, where it can kind of make it so that you're vulnerable if you don't know exactly what the transformations do and what the weaknesses are. I do think that they deserve to be in the game, and not like they're automated, but just give them different combos. Make one like a support tanky guy like Barrett, and you could have like a 2 tank party if you use the Frankenstein one. You know, that's what I'm hoping for. I hope it's not just he only gets Galleon Beast, and I assume Chaos, because his powers are Chaos E. So I'm going to assume he at least gets Chaos and Galleon Beast. I do like that Gunslinger is as crazy as everyone was hoping. Like, look at this shit, bro. Let me go back a bit quick. Look at how fucking awesome he is. Okay, wait, that's an... Okay, look at this combo. Look at this combo. Look at this duo combo, bro. Look at this duo combo, okay? You see Cloud doing his blade beam shit. Then Vincent finishes... Keith bro in the combo with his chaos shots, bro. And then Sid goes in there and starts smacking with the... Like, come on, bro. Like, that's what I love about this game series, bro. That's what I love about these games, bro. These games just give you this adrenaline feeling in combat and the sense of teamwork that you don't get in other Final Fantasy games. I want to say minus 15, because 15 did a pretty good job of making the boys feel like they were cooking together in that battle, boy. But in terms of like all the action Final Fantasies, like even Stranger Paradise, I love the shit out of Stranger Paradise. Doesn't give me that same feeling that this trilogy does in terms of like it's just awesome, bro. And this is really cool. This I assume is not a Limit Break. It's a Diablos Impact. And that's what that looks like to me. So I don't think it's Limit Break. I think it's Diablos Impact. So I do think that they're specifically hiding his Limit Breaks. They're specifically hiding his Limit Breaks because they might just straight up be the transformations. And it might just be an attack of transformations and not you transform into them. Which I honestly, if it's just that, I'll take it. I'll take that compromise. I will. That duo attack's really good. I really like that. Now on to Sid Highwind. Now Sid here, let's look at Sid's gameplay, man. This is so Kingdom Hearts 3 to me, with his movements and animation. Like that's the feeling I got from watching Sid fight. and I just love the way he moves. He's so fluid. He's so sick animation wise. I know he's gonna feel good as fuck to use, especially this where he throwing the combo and he throws the spear and brings it right back and then goes in, bro. Oh, okay, and also this is new. He has this limit break in the original. It's called Dragon, but it doesn't attack in the original. It just gives you it heals your MP and HP, and then it goes away. But in this version, they made it so it attacks and does the same thing. It does the same thing. I also think it gives him haste. So I think it may give him haste too. But I didn't see haste on his bars, so maybe not. Which I think that they might have done that because it would have been fucking busted if he did DPS attack and healed and got his MP back and also put haste on. Like, what are we doing? Okay, now we have the Fits system, or the Fits, because the system is in the name. It's called Fits, which I'm really happy about. So for Fits, I talked about in the last video again, but you get a job system. It's a job-like system. It's not exactly a job system, but it gives characters unique, specific skills for the outfits, and also you can use other skins you can find in the game, in the world map, through side quests and stuff, and put them over this and keep the abilities and whatever else the Fate gives you, which I really do like. Also, something I noticed that I saw this on Twitter, but it seems like we are going to have to if it shows, let me see if it just shows it. It might not show it, but it seems like we're going to have to get our abilities back again that we got in the last two games, which is really funny. And also, if you look closely at the bottom, it says pushing the stick to change outfit. I assume that's pushing the stick on a generic PC controller, so I think you're gonna push on the stick and you can change your outfit to whatever fits or skins you find on the map, and you can put on your freelancer or your black mage or your warrior or whatever. And then like Tifa's, I assume Tifa's fire skill here is specific to black mage Tifa, and you cannot just use this normally. So if you want to use that napalm strike, you gotta use black mage Tifa, and she looks good enough where I wouldn't switch it. Cloud looks like a dork here, and I really love that. This is an Ochu, by the way. It's just straight up an Ochu, and I really am happy that Ochu's here because I don't think they are in Rebirth, I remember. And they got some new design quirks, like they got like those sharp teeth, which are really cool. Very cool, very cool. I assume this skill here is exclusive to the warrior job too. Okay, here we go. Here's the weapon stuff. The weapon stuff is very exciting to hear about because Hamaguchi talked about it earlier, like said in an interview where he says that you can do the gimmick fight, or you can do a normal attacking of the weapon and just do it like that. And like I said, something interesting here is that the weapon attacking beetle is not ultimate weapon. It is the baby huge materia weapons. So that's interesting to me, and I've been trying to look at this trailer for a bit and try to see if one of these ones, if this one has the hole cut in him that Sephiroth did, but I don't think he's the one that got cut in him. But I do find it interesting that that is how this is going, that this is how it is working out, and that I do find it interesting that they're deciding to fight the weapons and change where they are in locations. So this is not, they're like Hamaguchi's like straight up telling you, like, not Hamaguchi, but the trailer's trying to tell you that this is not FF7 as you know it. And obviously that was the case for Remake and Rebirth, obviously. But I've been on the prediction that people have been saying, because people have been saying, oh, they're cowards, they're going back on everything they're doing. I don't believe they're going back on anything they're doing. This is exactly what they want to do, and you can feel that if you've played these games as much as me, and go through the things that, and go through the games and look at each individual piece, see how they connect back one to another, and then you look at this trailer, you're like, oh, they really meant it. They're really sticking to their guns, which is really amazing to me that they did not go back on their word on anything. And you know they didn't, because this came out so fast. Like, if they really wanted to change everything to appease the so-called purists, they wouldn't be going as hard as they are with literally committing to everything they've done. Like, they're committing hard as fuck. That's what this trailer is telling you. They're committing hard as hell. This game is being made in a way that's specific for me. Now, this area, hello fat chocobo, is I think the Junon air base, and that's why I think this is interesting, because if you notice the party here, and it'll show up again too, but Cloud's here. Now, Cloud is not in Junon in the original, in that area. And I know for sure this is the airbase. I know for sure it's the airbase. Obviously, it could be a battle on our way down to the submarine. It could just be a battle on the way down to the submarine and not specifically the Junon airbase. And Cloud's there to help Tifa get out, right? It could just be the way submarine. But I don't know. Something about this looks exactly like I picture. Well, this could just be this could be the elevator. This could be the elevator, yeah. But I don't know. Something about it just reminds me specifically of the area where they try to save Tifa. It looks kind of like it belongs in here, but it's in a darker area. This is the Snow Mountains. I thought they would have different outfits for this, and maybe they get them as you go up the mountain. But this looks like this I can't tell because this looks like the coral area for the Forgotten City, but also it looks like the Snow Mountain. So I don't know for sure. And this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. There's a headless Genova here. This is a headless Genova, and its body parts are not the exact same as Genova. It's very red. It's a lot more scaly, and it has red tendrils, red lava tendrils sticking out of his body. What the hell is going on with this Genova, man? What the hell is going on with this Genova, man? What are you? What are you? What are you doing? What's going on? I have to know. I'm so curious. No, there's no way. A shot in the dark. A shot in the dark. What if that's on Meteor? What if you're fighting that Genova on Meteor? Like, what if that's on Meteor? Genova's chilling on Meteor. Like, there's Genova's Genova piece sitting on Meteor waiting for you to come and fight her. What if? What if? What if? Here, let me see if I can get it real quick. Now, this could be Meadle. So, I could be wrong about the ultimate weapon not showing up here. Because if you look down, there's like a little beach. Let me see if I can slow it down a little bit more. So, you see that beach down there? Obviously, like there's palm trees and stuff like that. So, it could clearly be Meadle. And ultimate weapon is here. This is ultimate weapon. So, I do wonder if this is just straight up him coming to attack Meadle after you fight the huge materia baby. He's like, don't touch my kid or whatever. And he comes in to try to attack the party, and then they shoot him with a big laser and he blocks it. But I do think we're gonna get an ultimate weapon, like Cloud's ultimate weapon from Ultimate Weapon. So I do wonder if this is going to forego him being in Meadle to do some new story stuff, and then you can like do a side quest where you fight him and it's very cinematic. Instead of fighting him normally like the original where you fight him on from the airship, you go around shooting him like in an airship minigame, like it's like an airplane minigame, like Ace Combat or something. I can see that. Okay, this is clearly the Northern Crater, I think, before he goes Sephiroth's Black Materia. And this is, I think, that, like I said, that area that they're going to fall into during Meadle. And then we get Sapphire Weapon popping up out of the water. On to the next trailer, the story-specific trailer, which is mostly still gameplay too, but they call it the story trailer, is that the start of this has the nebula flipped sideways. I will put the original one up from Ever Crisis and Remake Part 1. So I do think this has to do something with the, what's it called? I'm going to call it the hollow materia. I was going to call it the clear materia. I'm going to call it the hollow materia. Now, hold on. Let me mute just, so it doesn't bleed into the microphone. I think this scene here is not just for the trailer. I think this is going to be what happens after. This is going to be what happens after Sephiroth gets the Black Materia, because I do think they're gonna, like I said, like it's gonna be old and new. A lot of stuff will be old and new, but I think a lot of it will be new in this trailer. Definitely tells that to me, and also another thing tells that to me too. So yeah, I think this is what's going to happen after he gets the Black Materia. Instead of a crystal Sephiroth falling into the sea like in the OG, he will ascend to the sky outside of the crater with all the Genova Sephiroth clones I'm gonna try to like grab up to him and go with him, and he has Cloud in his arms here. Obviously, he has Cloud in his arms here. Someone said it was Zach on the internet, but you can see right here. That is Cloud Strife. So I think he's going to be taken away, whisked away by Sephiroth, which is really funny because in 2022, like before the name was announced, this is on 4chan, someone made a fake leak where they got the name correct. It was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. They said at the end of the game, Genesis will show up and whisk Cloud away, like an unconscious Cloud away. And there will be 2 Clouds. There will be 1 Cloud from another world who was unconscious. And this happens at the Forgotten Temple. Instead of going to the Forgotten City and Aerith dies, it doesn't die. Cloud will be whisked away by Genesis, and that's funny to me because I think that's what's happening here. But instead of Cloud being whisked away by Genesis, it's being whisked away by Sephiroth. And I don't know if it's going to be a Cloud from a different timeline or if it's going to another parallel world. I mean, as what the Japanese interviews call it, parallel world. Or if it's going to be the main Cloud, but I do think a Cloud is going to be whisked away by Sephiroth. Meteor comes, he summons Meteor like usual, and people think that him summoning Meteor means that everything's the same, but I think Meteor was always like the goal for him. But I think Sephiroth, because Advent Children is canon, well, he loses obviously. And and also he doesn't damage the planet, he doesn't absorb its power. He tries to, in Advent Children, take the world's despair, the live stream with him through that, and he loses the Cloud anyway. So I think that the reason he summons Meteor is because, well, he could do it again, do more damage this time outside of Advent Children, and this time there's nothing in his way because Aerith is alive in another world. And there's also something later in the trailer that tells me that he's found a way to Holy does not interfere, and the live stream does not interfere. The weapons are awake, obviously. This is those who fight, yada yada yada, those who fight. We get the high wind stuff. They all jump off. Really good animations here. Really, I should go back and show this because this is a really good animations here. That they each have their own unique personality traits here in their jump animations, and it's really good that they made sure to differentiate that they wouldn't always be the same. We talked about Meadle already, so we don't have to go over that again. We talked about Wutai already, we don't have to go over that again. We talked about Vincent, we don't have to go over that again. Sid does his thing here. Let's see if I can go a little ahead. Yes, it does something good. Talk about the gameplay trailer. Talk about that. Like, there's not a lot of new stuff in here. We talked about the weapons. I already gave my opinion on that. Like I said, you can just fight them without doing the gimmick. You can fight them with the gimmick. And again, this guy's in Meadle. So I think we just skip to the end. Here we go. Okay, no, it's around here. Around here. Here we go. Let's just skip right to the end. Here we go. Okay, so let me slow it down because we got some stuff to look at in these flashes. Now, some people could say that this is a vision of Cloud in another world, but I don't think it's a vision of him in another world. To me, it doesn't seem like that, but I could be wrong. Let's go back here. I think these are flashes of what's happening in the game. So, Sephiroth is talking to Cloud, and this could be from Rebirth. When these shots could be from Rebirth, actually. Not like this is taken from Rebirth. I mean, the events that happened in Rebirth when he fell down. He's here with, I think that's Cloud. I'm pretty sure that's Cloud. And I can't tell if that's him bending down. But I think it's him at a table of some kind. So he's, maybe he's on the side of Cloud's bed after Cloud's unconscious in Meadle. Instead of being in a wheelchair. Because they had him in a wheelchair and Rebirth. They might be like, oh, well, we did that. Let's do something else. So Sephiroth's next to him at a bed. Or maybe that's when he fell with Aerith, like I said, in Rebirth. And then also, God, he looks so good. His eye looks so good. Here's this. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. He has a white materia, and Cloud has the clear materia. So I don't know where he could have got this. I have to assume he got it from one of the arrows he killed, and one of the arrows he killed did not stop that. Or maybe he went into the water in both timelines, both parallel worlds, and got the white materia out, and he's going to make sure that Aerith cannot use Holy at all. And I think if Aerith cannot use Holy, and he his plan is, if she can't use Holy and I can erode the live stream before, like I can give it the Genova Black live stream from the past through the whispers. I can take it from the future with the whispers and erode the live stream. Infect the live stream like I'm infecting someone's blood, and erode it. It cannot stop Meteor from hitting. Thus, Meteor takes damage. Then I can absorb the live stream myself, and I can whisk away and take the power of the planet with me and control all timelines under all. I control all worlds under one person after damaging the live stream and killing the main planet or something like that. So I think that his plan is that to cause a reunion of that scale after damaging the main timeline world's live stream and creating a unified one world, one live stream under Sephiroth's control is the thing I think is happening. Sounds convoluted, but I think it's awesome that they went this route, and I love when stories get super layered like that. It's one of my favorite things about this remake series, and it's something I love about Nojima and Nomura since Final Fantasy VIII, and the Final Fantasy VIII-ness that's existed since they've worked on stuff together has been in this franchise, this remake series, and the compilation for a long time, and it's all culminating here in the best way possible. Now, there's one more thing, and I don't know if it's included here. It doesn't seem like it's included here. So we have this scene. Let me put it back at normal speed. I think I talked about this already, but we'll talk about it again. We'll talk about it again. And it's just Cloud. I assume this is at the city of the ancients. It looks like it to be. Where there's black whispers and white whispers, and I'm going to assume they might be Zack's or his own whispers. Because Cloud, Zack, and Aerith and Sephiroth have the power to manipulate time, or manipulate world and create world lines. And there's black whispers there. And at the end of the game, Cloud starts to control the whispers in Rebirth, which is what helps him create the ability to go in there and create a parallel world where Aerith lives, right? So I'm going to assume that's either his whispers or Zack was able to use whispers too, since he has Genova cells in him because he's a soldier, and he's one of the soldiers with the strong will like Angeal and Genesis and Sephiroth, and obviously that becomes Cloud too. So that's what I assume it's going on. I could be wrong, but I think that is the case, that it's either Cloud or Zack's whispers there. So yeah. For some reason, this one is not on the official channels, so we're using a re-upload from Gamers Pray. Thank you so much for this, Gamers Pray. And now we're going to look at two videos. We're going to look at the Sapphire weapon in the original and the Sapphire weapon here. So let's take a look at this one first. Now, it's not the full thing, so they do kind of leave out some stuff. But this is very, this scene reminds me so much of, not Sapphire Weapon's original scene, but of Sin in Final Fantasy X. When he came out and attacked the beach. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. That's what this reminded me of. And also I like his new design. It's very Eldritch horror. It's very good redesign. So this is where he dodges and shoots through Junon. He shoots through Junon. He cuts the hole like usual. However, he doesn't die. He doesn't die in this, and it does more damage. He does more damage than he did in the original. And he cuts a hole in the thing, but he cuts through the entirety of Junon and blows up the top of Junon. That is not what happens in the original. That's not what happens in the original. All that is completely different. I'm going to show you. I'm going to skip it a little bit because they shoot him, they miss, and he starts coming out. They start firing everything at him. He's like, "Oh, what happened, sir?" Yada yada yada. And he wakes up. He comes to him. They start shooting everywhere. Blah blah blah. They attack, but everything bounces off. And then he gets up in front of the cannon, and the music's different too. Obviously, the music will be different. And he gets ready to shoot at the Junon cannon, and he does take a shot. And it hits just that part. He cuts a hole for Tifa. That's it. He cuts a hole for Tifa. And then he takes aim to shoot another one. And then he gets his head blown off. And he's done. That's it. Heidegger's safe. Rufus is safe. Everyone's good. Everyone's safe because the Sister Ray the sister race saved them. And then that doesn't happen here. They could also just be upscaling it, and it's normally 1-for-1. But his head doesn't get blown off. His head doesn't get blown off. He survives. Sapphire weapon survives. He dodges. He gets a scale blown off, and then he blows up Heidegger. Like, that's all. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. It's not the same story anymore. And I think one of the things people requested for a long time was to be able to fight every single weapon, including ones we didn't get. So they found a way to do that and did a cool narrative way of doing it. And I really do like that they did. Like, this is really, really cool to me. This is really cool to me. So yeah, that is what I thought and what I thought I pieced together from the analyzing, there we go, of the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Revelations trailers that we have. I'm getting the names confused. And I'm really happy about what I think I found in these. I'm really excited about what we saw, and I'm really excited to see more. And I cannot wait to look at this game and get it in my hands as soon as possible. It'd be really great if they could let me play it specifically, like me personally. So if you could do that, Hamaguchi, you're out there, you're listening, give it to your boy. Hope you guys have a great day, and peace from Wizard Games, everybody.